Good evening, everyone. We will reconvene our Board of Supervisors meeting today. And tonight on the agenda, we have two public hearings. That is item 16 and 17 on the agenda. We will open these public hearings. So if you wish to speak, please submit a form. You can find these in the back, and Celeste will be happy to take those for you. The first one, item 16, we'll go ahead and begin. I will invite Mr. McCoy up to share with us the details of this proposal.
All right. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Before you tonight is a request for a special exception permit for a cabin or cottage resort in the Amsterdam district. Before I get started, I'll read the legal advertisement for the record. In the Amsterdam district, Peak Vista Properties LLC requests a special exception permit for a cabin or cottage resort on a 13.9 acre portion of three combined parcels totaling 110.147 acres in the agricultural A1 use district with possible conditions. This parcel is located at 365 Shawnee Trail, identified on the tax map as 88-9, 88-17, and 88-18B. Flip the slide on me real quick there. I think I remembered the last one. So before you on the screen is a zoning map. The parcels in question are outlined in red. You'll see the green color there is all A1 zoning. You've got some rural residential zoning in gray. You'll notice the proximity to the RAM district, very near to where we are tonight. That's the Greenfield Industrial Center. And you'll see just a hair of floodplain on parcel 88-17 on the back end of that parcel. There is a small stream that runs in there with the floodplain. This is an aerial of the property seen here off Shawnee Trail. It's a hilly property. It's an active farm use right now. You'll see the three parcels and a small drive access that goes to a barn that's standing today. It is an active farm use, as I mentioned. The applicant wishes to operate a cabin or cottage resort. So what that means is you'll see in the bottom right of this picture here, the conceptual site plan, 6 units with 2 bedrooms each for short-term rental. So there is a drive access that provides parking as well as access into the property itself. He is combining the 3 parcels into 2 and basically removing the back end of those long skinny lots and combining it into the larger parcel. The applicant has also included some conceptual designs of the property writ large. He is intending to operate it in agricultural use as he does today, but then also offer the cabins up for rental on a short-term basis. It's intended to provide kind of a rural escape for folks that don't always have the opportunity to enjoy the outdoors like we do today, and bring them onto the property to experience the farm life as well. This is a zoomed in version of it. So as I mentioned, there's 6 units with 2 bedrooms each. You'll see the hatched lines on there represent the septic fields. There are 3 fields for 6 cabins. He's also included the proposed pond and water feature there, as well as the access drive. This is off of Shawnee Trail, just before you get into a curve. The speed limit on Shawnee Trail is 35, and I believe as you get into the curve, it drops down to 25 as the suggested speed there. The applicant submitted some photos and wanted us to show those on the screen for you. This is the property as it exists just a couple weeks ago, showing the proposed access to the property in those 2 middle photos and the curve that exists to the right as you pass the property itself. He's also included some photos of the property in active ag use. So this table here shows the conditions that are both required by the ordinance. So even if staff does not suggest any conditions at all, if the planning commission had never recommended any conditions, if approved, the applicant would have to do these required by ordinance on the left. So there are 4 there. There are also 4 conditions that were recommended by the planning commission if the SCP is granted. So the one suggested by staff is that there shall be no more than 6 2-bedroom cottages on the property. Per our zoning code, the applicant can do 1 unit per acre. So he could technically go up to 13 acres there. He is capping it or wishes to cap it at 6. The development of the property shall be undertaken in substantial conformance with that conceptual site plan that you all saw. We have a catch-all here too, and our generic kind of condition that we include with all SCPs is that the noise generated by the development shall not violate provisions of the Botetourt County Noise Ordinance, and that all of those specifications and general provisions shall be met as required by the zoning ordinance. So the requested action from you all this evening is to approve or deny the cabin or cottage resort on the property of Peak Vistas LLC. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. The applicant is also here tonight and would be happy to expand on anything I may have missed.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. McCoy?
I have one in that the code specifies 2 adults per bedroom, but I didn't find anything that addresses children.
Sure. So I believe that piece of the code is a reflection of the health department kind of ordinances when it comes to septic fields and how many folks can be in a bedroom to maintain the appropriate draining of the septic tank. We don't have anything about children, and I wouldn't be able to tell you if they have any different bathroom tendencies than adults, tongue in cheek. But if you have some concerns about that, that is what is in the ordinance, and we could explore maybe a different condition if you'd like. However, I think this probably captures what the concerns might be there on the property, but we're happy to explore other options if you'd like.
One other, my sister and her husband, whenever they retired, they bought themselves a 3/4 ton pickup and a 5th wheel trailer. And I see in here that trailers would be prohibited, and I can picture my sister and her husband going to something like this as they were traveling around. This cast in stone on the use of trailers, or is it just that you can't use, like they use the term dry camping?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the applicant made that statement at the Planning Commission meeting. That is not a condition that's included with the recommendations from Planning Commission. So whether the applicant said it or did not say it, he's not held to that by our zoning ordinance or the conditions placed on it right now. If you wanted to see some greater condition in there that would prohibit or otherwise speak to travel trailers or RVs to a certain degree there parked on the property, we would have to come up with a condition there. That's kind of what we're looking at right now. I think his parking is designed to have 2 spaces per unit, and right now they're probably not shown to have the capacity to store an RV or another travel trailer of some sort there. We have not gotten into that much detail as to the size of those parking spaces, and that's probably something we would look at when it comes to the actual submittal of building permits. But as of right now, there's nothing holding the applicant to not having those travel trailers or RVs on the property.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
So with that question, maybe we could ask the applicant to come up and share their thoughts on this project. I think that would be probably a good question for them. We'll ask them directly about that.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello. Wanted to start off with the Bush family owned this farm since the 60s, and they rented to a couple farmers. When I purchased it in 23, they decided to sell it, and it sat on the market for 2 years. And it was actually under contract, I think, for about a year, according to the Bush family, and developers were attempting to develop it and put 161 homes on it. And I guess they couldn't get access for sewer or water. I'm not sure which, maybe both. And so I purchased the farm under my LLC in 2023, and our intention has been to farm since the beginning. We have over about 70 head of cattle, about 50 head of sheep that all are in one pasture, one paddock. And they do that, of course, in nature to protect themselves, and they move themselves to a new pasture and obviously spreading it, the manure and the fertilizer all throughout the farm. And we control the farming with portable electric fencing to keep them out of the waterways, keep it sustainable. And then, of course, you saw the chickens on one of those pictures. People are like, you have chickens out on a chicken mobile. That's our pasture sanitization program, actually. That is cleaning up the pastures. They do produce a really good egg also, but they do actually clean up. They follow the cows about 3 to 4 days intentionally to clean up the pastures. And we do want to be selling honey and other farm products from the farm under the ag program. And we've applied for the cabin cottage resort, which does have a maximum density of 1 dwelling per acre. We intentionally only wanted 6, even though I think the experts, architects, and consultants were saying you could get 13, or we have 110 acres altogether. We could technically do the whole farm, right, and do 110, but we don't want to. Our intention is to actually build on the farm on that map. It does have, I might be going back there. Out here is a proposed future residence that we're going to be living there. So we really don't want 100 homes, right, short-term rentals next to our own residence as well. So neighbors have raised concerns about the entrance, which we hired Pearson Engineering and Surveying, who I think has been working in the county for 30 years, recommended that location, given that it has 385 feet of sight distance both ways. If VDOT is obviously ultimately the one that would approve that, if VDOT says that is not a go, then obviously we would look at Plan B and C, which we clearly have 500 feet of sight distance all along Shawnee Trail, just be a longer driveway. So a lot of people have expressed concerns about traffic. The average occupancy for short-term rentals across the nation is about 50%. So meaning that 50% of the time they're vacant. There's no one in them. There's no cars coming and going. They're not going to the store. They're not there. So that means we're really almost asking for 3 2-bedroom homes. Technically, right there along Shawnee Trail and Country Club, it doesn't show it right there, but there's 3,200 feet of water, or excuse me, of road frontage that we could subdivide 21 times and put septics and wells and build 21 homes. We have no intention to do that. So we're trying to keep it contained into a small area. The pictures don't indicate there's actually cedar trees that are protecting most of the cottages that would be built for privacy, not just for people driving by, but the guests as well. And so that was really the main reason. There's not a lot of cover on the farm. It's very open along Country Club and Shawnee Trail. So we have named the cottages the Farmhouse Cottages, and actually purchased a domain, farmhousecottages.com, and going with a theme of the farmhouse look and cottage style. Classy, it's elegant, and it's timeless. Doesn't go away. The farmhouse right down the street's up for sale. I think it's built in the 1810s, and it's still beautiful. So obviously these cottages generate short-term rental sales tax revenue for the county, and the dollars that guests spend have an even larger impact on the small businesses that they do patronize. We currently have 7 non-family employees that help on the farm and also help maintain the properties. 4 of them actually live within 2,000 feet of the cottage entrance. So we're able to attend to maintenance issues or complaints about noise or whatever could be going on. There was a concern about travel trailers or RVs that was brought up at the last meeting and this one as well. And we will not allow them just because, well, we don't want the, there's a lot of reasons why. Let's just say we're not going to allow them. There's not a lot of room there. It's a ridge. And so, and honestly, we have another Airbnb down the road. We've had that question come up, and but it's been very rare, honestly. Most of the people are going to stay in a nice home that's heated and cooled and not, towing their fifth wheel there. So, but we do want to, of course, thank the neighbors who've been encouraging us, and obviously very nice about telling us to continue to farm. That's our intention. It's also going to be a place where we can some of the trainings that we will do on the other parcels to teach people how to do this kind of farming, because it is different. I had to been taught this and spent thousands of dollars going to other farms across the country to learn how to do it. And so we want for them to be able to stay on the farm and experience the farm right here, where they can walk over and experience it. So we hope to create a wonderful experience for our guests who stay at the farmhouse cottages, regardless of visiting family or anniversary or a wedding, which we've had that all happen at our other short-term rental, which is at 32 Country Club. Be surprised how many people actually come just to stay in a beautiful Botetourt. So, do you guys have any other questions?
Any questions for the applicant? So I would just want to expand a little bit. You said that your intention is to keep this as a working farm.
That's correct.
And then hopefully some of your guests might be interested in learning some of the techniques that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other plans? You have cows, you have sheep, you have chickens, any other farming endeavors that you're considering?
Bees. So we actually have an intern that's developed that on other farms. And so he's already done it a few times. And so that obviously can't do it this time of year. So that'll be springtime when that comes. And then, so if you want to come get stung, we'll charge you $25 per bee sting. That's quite an experience.
Yeah.
No, so then we also do want to have some greenhouses, maybe not necessarily on this parcel, the 13 acres, but on the larger parcel, greenhouses where we'll, have some fruits and vegetables and that sort of thing as well. But that's all. Maybe we'll have, chickens, but all the meat is processed through a USDA facility, right? It's not processed on the farm. So it's driven all the way to the USDA facility, packaged and labeled with a little stamp, and then brought back, and then either would be sold locally at the farm stores or shipped. So,
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Okay, thank you. We will open the public hearing at this time. I have some requests for speaking. So the public hearing is now open. I do want to note for the minutes and for the official record, Supervisor Clinton joined us earlier today via remote access. He is not feeling well and was with us for the earlier part of our meeting today. He is not online tonight, so he will not be part of these public hearings and these board actions. So I just wanted to clarify that before we got started. So the first public comment that I have listed, Greg Riley.
Speaking this one, right?
Speak into any microphone. If you're
Hello.
speaking, please say your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes for comment.
Okay, my name is Greg Riley. I live at 588 Country Club Road, Troutville. All of this sounds wonderful. Bees, honey, cattle, sheep, quaint little country store, maybe a nice little rental cottages. But as an adjoining property owner, I've been receiving these registered letters for months about this proposed development. I decided to come to the last planning commission meeting and find out more about it. The reason I hadn't gotten involved earlier, that like most of my neighbors, I thought it sounded like a pretty cool idea. A few rental cabins and quaint little country getaway and things like that sound like a nice idea. But after digging in, I found out that some people had been told different things. In addition to the rental cottage, maybe a meat packing plant or something, another good thing for the community and for the farmers in Botetourt. But then at the end of the meeting, the elephant in the room came out, that if this is not profitable, in a few years, we have the ability to put apartments here. if it was not profitable. Well, anybody can tell you that a few cottages, rental a rural getaway in right over the hill from a noisy data center that is going to be an asphalt and concrete jungle for several years is probably not going to be as profitable as apartments. So it's very easy to set a precedent and come back in and say, okay, I'm not making enough money. And we have seen the same pattern with other developers before. So it makes perfect sense for them to come back in and say, hey, I'm not making enough money here. And so what's going to happen? Again, the elephant in the room is apartments, apartments, apartments. And I remember talking to Mr. Clinton a few years ago, and he said, when we approved Ashley Plantation, we never dreamed that it would turn into this. And I would just like to say that the Planning Commission often gets out in front of the board in how they approve different things. I would like to thank the board because in the years that I've observed the board, you've always taken a cautious and fastidious approach in these things. Of course, apartments are here to make money. So let's just be honest about what's coming in a few years or 6 months or whatever. I would like to ask that you table this project until more questions can be asked and more information can be obtained. Thank you.
Thank you. Next comment is Carl Porter.
I'm Carl Porter, 592 Country Club Road. What concerns me is what will be the special exemption for the next phase and then the next phase. I believe special exemptions should be a rare occurrence considering the time, energy, and money, taxpayer money, that was used to create the comprehensive plan and future land use.
Thank you. Jerry Riley.
Hello. My name is Jerry Riley, live in the Fincastle district on Country Club Road. Mainly, I came here to get information. There's been a lot of rumor going around about this project and very little facts. I came here hoping to get more facts, and honestly, I haven't. There seems to be a lot of questions, and for one, I see that it's approved one septic for each 2 cottages instead of one septic for each dwelling. And there's also 2 adults per bedroom. That's 4 adults per septic system. So I think that that needs to be relooked at. Also, at the very end of his talk, out of just a little slight comment, there was a mention of a farm store. I hadn't heard anything about a farm store before. Have y'all heard about a farm store? If you have, how come we haven't heard about it? What does that entail? So I think if there is a farm store planned, it should be brought up and talked about separately. If there's no farm store, then let's settle that right now and say, no, there's not going to be a farm store there. Then the last thing, and has been mentioned before, the elephant in the room, apartments. Where did that come from? I heard no mention of apartments before. So why is it being brought up now? I think there's a lot of questions about this project that need to be answered, and a lot more work needs to be done and a lot more public information given out to the residents before you approve something of this nature. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sharon Porter.
Sharon Porter, 592 Country Club Road, Fincastle District. My request is simple. It's punctuation. So there's a comma after cottage. So it looks like it's a cottage resort. Is it a cabin or a cottage or a resort, or is it a cottage resort? There's a big difference between a resort and a cottage. So I guess I need to remove that comma, and say it's a cottage resort. A resort is, of course, let's see, a resort is um, it's a comprehensive experience, which includes shopping, restaurants, and entertainment. So I don't think we're talking about a resort. So if it's a cottage resort, then just say it's a cottage resort. So the Planning Commission has recommended 6 two-bedroom cottages. If this is approved, just remove that comma, and so we don't make sure that it's not a resort. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles Gladdy. Glad you. I'm sorry. You may have heard that before.
It's glad to. My name is, sorry. My name is Charles Gladue. I live at 803 Shawnee Trail, just down from this. I drive by it every day. I was seriously worried years ago when they started, the previous attempt at buying this was conditional on another special exemption from the board. Didn't have to come to that because they declined, because some of the property owners between them and where they were going to have to access water and sewer were going to fight them, and they didn't feel like fighting it. I'm all for Mr. Bowen's attempt at trying to keep it a farm. He's had a farm before. I think he wants to make this a farm. He is a businessman. He's trying to make a profit. I understand that. I agree with one of these gentlemen here that said taxpayers have spent money for this comprehensive plan and so forth and so on. And I can go into a litany of things, including the Bailey property that, oh, well, it's adjacent to the Daleville Town Center, so we'll just let it be a PUD too. Guys, if you're going to spend the money on the comprehensive plans, please use the special exemptions judiciously. The Wawa that's going in now, special exemption. I had a lady on the board say, well, it's not our job to tell people who can build there and so forth. Well, when the property's there and it has conditions, or the land use has conditions, and somebody comes to you and you give them special exemptions, you are picking who's going to use it, because maybe somebody else would have used it if they could have had special things. But Wawa wasn't going to do it if they didn't get access to Glebe Road and tighter dimensions and so forth to put their charging units. I've been to a lot of y'all's meetings. And I agree with this gentleman on the special exemptions being overused. And yes, once you start down the road, is this going to be an additional special exemption? I've only known Mr. Bowen for about a year. I think I like him. I don't know him well enough. We don't have a history to where I trust him with, this, that, or the other. But I've helped him out. He's helped me out. I like him. I take him at his word, what he's saying. And I think he wants the farm store, as I understand it from a previous meeting, that can be done on any farm. It doesn't require special permission or anything. So my whole thing is, even if you, and I hope you do, allow this to go forward, that's kind of like see where it goes. But please guard those special exemptions and realize what you're starting a road down if you incrementally just allow all the A1 to start becoming everything else.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment on this proposal? Seeing and hearing no one, I will close the public hearing and open this up to the board for discussion and questions.
Madam Chair, I was wondering if you can come back down and answer some of the things.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna, if Mr. McCoy could come first, I think a couple things might be clarified. Mr. McCoy, could you first address the comma issue? Is this as written cabin, cabin or cottage, comma, resort, comma, on the property? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that use allow the definition that we just heard of resort?
Yes to both. So cabin or cottage, comma, resort is the exact name in the ordinance. So we don't try to hide or obfuscate what the terms are. I use the exact term from the ordinance when somebody applies for it. And that is what's in the advertisement as well. The use that you were considering tonight falls very nicely into that use definition.
Okay.
So it is a cabin or cottage, comma, resort. I'll agree it's not a great name. We would have to do a text amendment to change that name. We're not doing that tonight. But yes, it is a cabin or cottage resort that Mr. Bowen has requested, and it does fall underneath that definition.
Okay. But the use would be defined as what was presented tonight.
Correct.
The other question I thought of to ask you, if 5 years he decides he wants apartments, that word has come up several times, what would be required for apartments to be built on this property?
Apartments cannot be built on this property, just full stop, without a rezoning to R3 or R4 and access to public water or sewer. There is no public water or sewer here. It is not being rezoned to R4. Therefore, no apartments can be built on this property now or in the future without the board approval to do so.
And that's a rezoning, not a special exception.
Correct.
So just to clarify that process. Other questions for Mr. McCoy?
The septics, have they been approved by Health Department?
The health department has reviewed this application, has indicated that these are suitable for the use as Mr. Bowen has described, and do not have issues with the use as presented to the board.
Very good.
They have done a soil, they've done analysis to make sure that it would meet the requirements of the Virginia Department of Health, and that has been already tested and looked at by the Department of Health.
Okay, thank you.
One other note too, and this did come up in the Planning Commission, and one that I failed to bring up earlier tonight, the farm store, if there were to be a farm store, is separate from this special exception permit. The special exception permit has nothing to do with the farm store in any way, shape, or form. Mr. Bowen, as the owner and operator of an ag use on an agriculturally zoned piece of property, could potentially do a farm stand there that may be permitted by state code, and that preempts us from requiring him to do a special exception permit to do so. Mr. Bowen, whether he does one or not, this is not related to the cabin or cottages. And regardless of whether he came before you tonight in any way, shape, or form, he could potentially have done that without our approval in any way, shape, or form. So I just wanted that to be clear as well, that this use in front of you has nothing to do with the rest of his property.
Thank you.
Very good.
Other questions? Comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion. There are, if we could go back to the options that
Presentation. Yeah.
the options for motions are before you.
Maybe.
Almost before you.
Getting there.
So I would entertain a motion of approval or to deny.
I'll move to approve the special exception permit for the cabin or cottage resort on the property of Peak Vista, as recommended by the Planning Commission.
So we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion?
I think that this is a good thing. It's low volume traffic. In the A1 with remaining properties out there, I think it's a little over 100 acres. Or that could result in 40 plus houses, big lot with well and septic. I'd much rather see this and the farm continue.
I would agree with Supervisor Nicely. I think that there is obviously interest in this county of preserving our farmland and keeping it in agriculture. That doesn't always pay the bills. And this is a way to allow this owner to supplement the income, but keep the majority of the property in agriculture, true agricultural use. I think that it is a good endeavor for him to support his farming habit this way. So I would support it for those reasons as well, Supervisor. Nicely. Other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries. Yeah, do you want to do a voice vote? Okay, would you do a voice vote, please? Yes, a roll call.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
that motion carries. Again, I think we can celebrate that this land is going to remain in agricultural use. So we will move on now to agenda item 17, the Valley District. Mr. Lindsay is going to present this one.
We're getting there. There we go. Maybe. All right, there we go. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm here to present the rezoning request from Journey Church and Journey Church Inc. They are requesting a rezoning from the agricultural A1 and residential R1 use to residential R3 use district with possible proper conditions and a commission permit in accordance with 15.2-2232 of the Virginia State Code. These properties are located at, between, and adjacent to 3574 Reed Mountain Road and 3468 Reed Mountain Road, and at the Reed Mountain Road State Route 654 and Bonneview Lane intersection, identified on the tax map as 107-199, 107-201, 107-202, 107C15, and 107C111. As you can see here, the largest of the 5 parcels is zoned A1 currently, with the remaining 4 being zoned R1. As I stated, Journey Church and Journey Church Inc. are requesting a rezoning of this 12.37 acres from A1 and R1 to R3. The applicant has indicated that the proposed development includes the construction of 72 residences, as well as new streets and sidewalks to serve the neighborhood. The proposed community per the applicant is proposed to address a shortage of housing for those looking to downsize, such as retirees and empty nesters. As you can see here, there are a few existing structures on the property. The former Journey Church location there on the north side of the property, as well as an existing single-family home to the south. In addition to the 72 residences, which you will see here, the site will include a 10-foot vegetative buffer along Reed Mountain Road and along the north and south sides of the property. As you can see here, bringing the property. This buffer will include a mix of evergreen and deciduous trees, as well as a fence between the property between that and lot 60. The site has been updated since the initial hearing to also include the potential to turn around for school buses that you can see in the cul-de-sac on the west side of the property and the turnaround at the south side of the property, as well as some additional stormwater management on the north end of the property. As it stands, the Botetourt County zoning ordinance does not permit the construction of single-family attached homes by right in A1 or R1. The density proposed in this application is 5.8 units per acre, which would not be allowed in either zoning district. However, rezoning this to R3 would allow for this type of development. In the comprehensive plan, this area is looked at as
sorry, I lost my place. Medium density, correct. This is in line with the development along this stretch of Reed Mountain Road. So in terms of traffic, Reed Mountain Road has a average daily traffic volume of 9,800 cars. Bonnie View Lane does not report any, as this is a private street. Since 2016, there have been 7 crashes in the vicinity, most of these being minor and deer strikes. This is lower, it's important to note, than other portions of Reed Mountain Road. It's also important to note that nearby Cloverdale Road and Reed Mountain Road intersections have been identified as a high crash location, with state studies looking into recommendations to improve that intersection. In terms of utilities, the site is served by public water and sewer, public water being served by Aqua Virginia, and sewer being provided by West Virginia Water Authority. Since the first hearing, we have received some public comment, including concerns regarding access along Bonnie View Lane, concerns regarding the buffer between the proposed development and existing houses, as well as water supply being served by a well. However, as I stated before, the applicant does not intend to use Bonnie View Lane as an access point. And there have been additional buffers between existing homes and the proposed development, and water will be served by Aqua. As you can see on the board here, these are the proper conditions that have been offered by the applicant. The first one being the property shall be developed in substantial conformance with the concept plan, which I showed on the previous page. All residential dwelling units shall be restricted in height to no more than 2 stories, excluding walkout basements. The development shall include a 10-foot buffer with a mixture of evergreen and deciduous trees, also shown in that concept plan. And then the last one here, we have received this, so that is not in your packet. A privacy fence shall be erected along the southern terminus of the access road near Lot 60, as shown on the concept plan, to shield Bonnie View Lane from headlights of vehicles using the access road. The applicant is here, so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those, as well as the applicant.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I would invite the applicant down to share your thoughts on this project.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, I'm Dale Wilkinson. With me is Seth Wilkinson, another member of our team, Bobby Wampler, who represents ECI, our consultant on this. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you tonight. I am a longtime Botetourt resident. I think I've lived here 35 or 40 years. I live at 185 Park Drive in the Blue Ridge area. We want to make this clear. This has been a collaborative effort on this. It's not just been our project. We have walked this door to door, talked to neighbors who have made changes, talked to planning commission members, members of this board that have inquired about certain aspects of this, and we've revised our plan to try to make this collaborative and make this something that in fact does fit in with the comprehensive plan and the future land use, which it does. That is a deliberative process that does use taxpayer funds. It does take a lot of time. It has a significant amount of public input, citizen input in planning that. I give credence to the planning department for their foresight, and we fully comply with the future land use plan. It may be good, Seth, if we can go through the proffered conditions. We had a fairly simple. We'll be developing this in substantial conformance with this concept plan. We'll restrict the height on these. We anticipate doing 1-story villas rather than certainly apartments. It's worth noting, I'd like to bring up the fact that there are places for apartments in various localities. This is not one. This is not maximizing the density on that site. We have tried to be responsive to neighbors by undulating these homes, these single-family homes. This project is meeting what is commonly referred to as the missing middle. And I'd just like to stress to the board the need for consideration of these kinds of projects. We're doing a lot to bring in jobs and to keep folks that have lived generations in Botetourt County here, and also to encourage workforce housing where folks can live in the community and contribute in the community by ownership. And this project will allow that. And we need to be doing more of it. These will not be at an extreme end of the price point. We're trying to make this where folks who are contributing to this community can afford a home in Botetourt. And I think we've succeeded in our plan of doing it. The other point I want to bring up here on the property conditions is point 3. We had a neighbor and planning commission member who was very interested in seeing that the perimeter of the property be fully landscaped in deciduous trees. We've agreed to do that. And then we had a neighbor, frankly, at the planning commission meeting that came up to me and said, Dale, can we get a fence? We don't want lights that might interfere with our lifestyle. And of course, we readily agreed to Mr. Cooper and asked him to design it. Frankly, the fence that would be put up. We'll also be constructing an entrance that is not just signage, but it allows you to see that you're coming into a neighborhood, you're coming into a community with speed limits and the desire for folks to slow down a bit and be respectful of the residents of the neighborhood. So that's the last item on the privacy. I'm rambling on a little bit. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Leave it at that.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
I have 4.
Yes, sir.
The first one, will these be all single story?
We have the right. I'll show you a couple slides here, Mr. Michaels. We plan for them all to be one-story villas as shown in this plan, but we wanted to provide ourselves the opportunity to undulate these homes, and should the market be for 2-story, that we have that option. Our plan at this point is to keep the price point down and make them 1-story, but I understand your position of needing to be very clear about this. And I proffer to you that it will be one of these 2 things. It could be a 2-story, not likely, but it's possible.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
The second one, do you have any feel for approximate cost to whoever purchases for a single story or a 2-story? Just a ballpark.
Well, it's missing middle, and my age is coming to me. I can't for the life of me understand how folks pay $2,000 a month for an apartment. But there's very little to buy in Botetourt County for $2,000 a month on a mortgage payment. And, we would hope that these would fall down in what I consider to be a lot of money, but probably in the $350,000 range.
Okay. The reason for the question is there had been some talk whether this would be what they're referring to as affordable housing or not.
I have no idea really what that means. I want it to be affordable for folks. There's absolutely no subsidy or any monies coming for the financing from any state or federal housing sources. We expect them all to be homeowners that are looking for a shot to live near their work or to retire and stay in Botetourt.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Then the third one is who will be responsible for maintaining the open areas?
There'll be And there are a number of extra open space areas there, I might add, but there'll be a homeowners association. There will be covenants and restrictions that are put in place that will cover the ongoing maintenance of this, of the all the public areas.
Okay. And the last one, will there be any rental units?
Not that I expect. No, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions for the applicant?
Covered.
Questions?
Just on the square footage of range of square footage.
1,500 square feet to 2,000.
Thank you. There are no other questions at this time. I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the community that would like to comment on this proposed project? Hearing and seeing none. Last call. I will close the public hearing and entertain discussion from the board.
Yeah, Madam Chair, a long time ago, I had talked to some about the process of, maybe building townhomes in this little area. As we had taken a look at our plan long time ago, we had looked at infill in this area, and this fills that little spot. I think this is a good idea. What I do appreciate is that, going out there and talking to the neighbors, knocking on the door and saying, hey, what do you think? What can we do to make this better? That is, I think, somebody that's out there trying to make something better when he puts a plan together. So I appreciate him doing this for his neighbors.
Thank you. Other discussion points? No other discussion or questions. I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
We'll have to do the commission.
Yeah, so first
Okay.
one's commission.
So
permit.
let's entertain a motion for the commission permit first.
So moved.
So I have a motion and a second to uphold the approval of the commission permit on the basis that the proposed streets are substantially in accordance with the comprehensive plan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries. Now, we will entertain the motion for rezoning.
Move to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the R1, to approve the R3 rezoning request for the property of Journey Church and Journey Church Incorporated as recommended by the Planning Commission.
With the proffers.
That's to
With-
accept the proffers.
The
as well.
proffers. Yeah.
With the proffers. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries. With no further business, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We are adjourned.